Taiwanese traffic and drivers are terrible.
Okay, so if there's any foreigner who's watching this video and he's thinking, oh, maybe I should move to China, maybe I should move to Taiwan, so what would you advise this person?
I would say move to Taiwan and don't waste your time with China.
Like China was like the first country you move abroad?
Yeah,
Like
it was the first country I had ever been to.
Oh really?
Yeah.
This must be shocking. So when you arrived to China, what was like the biggest shock for you?
Jesus,
Did
everything.
you like the dogs? The dog meat is pretty good, right?
Not bad.
It's like a real hot dog, you know?
It's like,
old school.
yeah, it's a lot more common than a lot of people realize, I think. I think a lot of Chinese people will say, no, we don't eat dog.
But you've been there like before 2012, right?
2013, I think I got there, yeah.
Oh, that's after the Olympic Games, they removed the dogs from the street.
That's absolutely not true.
Like, you know, you try, like, from the menus in English.
Oh, maybe in English, sure, but like they were everywhere. Dog restaurants were everywhere. But if you were from like a big city in China, then yeah, I could imagine you've never eaten dog. But if you're from anywhere outside a big city, there's dog restaurants everywhere.
So how was the Guangdong then? Like,
Guangdong has a lot of it. Yeah.
There's actually Cantonese saying. It says we can eat anything that has four legs apart from the table.
Yeah.
And everything that flies apart from the airplane.
Yeah. So, anything with wings but not an airplane.
Yeah. Then I guess 4 years in China, and then suddenly you decide to move to Taiwan.
Yeah.
So what was your motivation there?
Well, some friends of mine were making a documentary in China, and it didn't go particularly well with the government.
What do you mean?
And I wasn't guilty of anything. I think I probably would have been fine, but I didn't want to take any chances, and so they left, and then I decided that Taiwan was probably a good place, because I spoke a bit of Chinese, I understood the culture a little bit, and I just couldn't have been asked to learn like Japanese or something, go to another country. I wasn't ready to go home either, so I came here.
Okay, so you come from Canada, right?
Yeah.
First country you go abroad is China. You lived there for 4 years. You definitely had a cultural shock, right? And after you get used to eating dogs and stuff, then you go to Taiwan. And what's the biggest difference? Like,
I'm not eating dog. That's for sure. There's a difference. No, there's lots of differences, but there's also.
How do you know we didn't eat the dogs there?
Huh?
Did you always check what you eat in China?
Well, I don't like bringing up the dog thing because people get quite sensitive about it, obviously, and I've changed my stance on it somewhat because I really love dogs.
Yeah.
There's a lot of differences, but there are also a lot of similarities. People like to bring up the differences, but not the similarities, which is interesting. But I think the difference is that Taiwanese people are a lot more worldly, they're a lot more understanding of what's going on in international affairs, and they've got more of an open mind, whereas Chinese people don't really know a lot about the world, and everything that they do know is skewed or brought to them by the state government, right? Because it's not like they have a conservative news and liberal news, or they don't have like CNN versus Fox News where you can get two different takes on the news, or the BBC, which is like supposed to be neutral or whatever, but it's literally one state news that everyone reports the same thing. Everything that they know is given to them through the lens of the communist government. So they're just a little bit more ignorant than Taiwanese people are. So
for me,
generally speaking,
what I notice about Chinese people, actually, like you ask like 50 people what's your favorite sport, and they're really gonna stick like with basketball
and ping pong,
and that's it.
And what are your favorite hobbies?
Yeah, and mahjong.
Mahjong or sleeping.
Yeah. When you live in Taiwan, do you have any like funny situations, like when you like started using Chinese from China here, for example?
Yeah, a few times. I mean, the Chinese is different here, with the accent, and two, there's certain words and phrases that they use in China that they don't use here, and vice versa. I was trying to buy a helmet in Taiwan, and which is what, Anchuan Mao, something like that, wherever the tone goes. But in China, I always called it a toukui.
Oh.
But a toukui is like a military helmet, like a soldier helmet. And I remember I walked into the shop, but I was like, ni hao, well, cai zhao, you get toukui. Like, I was like, who are you going to war with? Like, who are you going to fight? It's really weird.
Let's talk about like something more interesting.
Yeah.
So what's the difference between Chinese mainland and Taiwanese girls?
Let's just try to get Prozzy in trouble. I don't know. It's the same thing with the culture. Like, now it is changing. It's always changing. Taiwanese girls are focusing more on their careers, and they're choosing to have children a lot less these days. I mean, you're watching the Taiwanese population just drop. Traditionally speaking, they all want to get married and have kids before 30. They've got a lot more choice over what they can do with their lives, whereas in China, it's like if you're not married and you're like 36, people are gonna look at that woman and be like,
oh, she wastes her life.
or like, what? Something's really wrong with you or something.
So who's more direct, Taiwanese girls or Chinese girls?
Chinese girls, 100%. Yeah, the Taiwanese girls are very sweet, but yeah, Chinese girls are
more
very
shy.
I would say, yeah.
So how about the food in China versus
Good.
in Taiwan? Which one you prefer?
China.
You prefer China?
Yeah. Wait, like, listen, Taiwanese food's amazing. It's really good, but what's cool about China is that there's so many provinces, each bringing with them their own cuisine. There's like, what, 7 schools of Chinese cuisine or something, and it's all so good, and it's fun to go and try out all these different things, and I really like that. I really like that variety.
Yeah.
You really can't put Chinese food into like one section. There's just so much of it, whereas Taiwan is just one country and it's one cuisine and it's not as varied. I find local Taiwanese food, like foods you can only get in specific cities. Like I did a video on damiangeng, which is a Taichung noodle. You can only get it here. And it was fucking horrible. I mean, like I understand why people have like nostalgic feelings towards it because it's supposed to be big, thick noodles in a soup and it fills the belly and it's for people when they didn't have a lot of money, and I understand all of that, but for me who's never had it before, I just didn't understand the appeal. It didn't taste necessarily all that bad, but it had a really odd texture, and I don't know. I like Taiwanese food a lot. I really like it. I just found that there was more variety in China, and I like that. But
on the other hand, I think that the thing is, okay, you like Taiwanese, Chinese food is basically very similar things, but when you live in China, you actually don't have too much options when it comes to like food from abroad.
Absolutely.
They really stick to own food, and you know they only let enter the. They have this kung fu, the one with Bruce Lee. Yeah. It's like fried chicken place.
Oh, yes, the Bruce Lee shops. Yeah.
And they have a KFC. They even don't like McDonald's that much.
They love KFC though.
Yeah.
That's like one of the most popular restaurants in all of China.
So what I mean, but it's like like if you wanna, I don't know how it works. If you wanna go for Thai food or you wanna go I had a problem with Japanese food there to find in Taiwan. It's so much easier to find Japanese food, for example.
Yeah, I completely agree with you on that. That's very true. In China, if you want like a burger, a decent burger, it's like
you really have
like 1,000 RMB or something. You know what I mean? Like it's insane. But that's true. I think that's part of the reason. Yeah, or get it off Taobao. I think that's part of the reason I gained so much weight in Taiwan is that now I can just eat pizza.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Anytime I want, or like I could go get a burger, or I can go get pasta, or whatever, and I couldn't do that in China. I wasn't eating particularly all that much in China.
The first time I a company meeting and the boss and bring a pizza. Mm-hmm. And here are the gloves. I'm like, what do you mean? You need to wear gloves to the pizza. It's greasy. And this is no pizza. You have to touch pizza.
You asked me one of the biggest differences, and I would say that Taiwanese people are a lot more open to, I won't call it criticism, but you could say that if you say something like Taiwanese traffic and drivers are terrible.
Okay.
Most Taiwanese people will be like, yeah, I also hate the driving and the traffic here. Like they kind of agree. They're not like, they can sort of accept it and roll with it and talk about it. Whereas in China, like saying anything negative about Chinese people or the government is completely unacceptable.
That's basically legal there.
Well, it is, right? Yeah,
So-
but they've got the sort of glass heart symptoms. You have to be very careful with what you say around Chinese people.
Let's move back in time, right? Let's before you made your decision to go to China.
Yeah.
And after that, you realize actually Taiwan is pretty similar place, but different.
Yeah.
And actually, you settle down here for longer from that time, right?
Right.
So, if there's any foreigner who's watching this video, and he's thinking, oh, maybe I should move to China, maybe I should move to Taiwan. So, what would you advise this person?
I would say move to Taiwan and don't waste your time with China. It could be fun. Like I had a lot of fun there, but I think you can do that here in Taiwan and not live in a communist regime.
I get it, it's a big progress, but they're missing. It's like you meet beautiful girl, but she has no teeth. This is you come to China, it's like wow, the economy, everything's booming. Yeah. But then what killed me is I went to Guangzhou, and it's 20 million city. Yeah. And the lady pulled the baby's pants up, and he did business in a trash can in a public train station.
Yeah.
And that
train stations. You ever been to a train station bathroom? squat toilets, no walls between the toilets, like everyone's smoking in there. That's like the smoking room of the train station.
So how was your ramen yesterday? It wasn't spicy. Oh, you can look here.
Yeah.
China did lots of good stuff, like in their way, but
wow,
guys, you still need some time, like to develop some things. Just in my opinion, that's why when I arrived to Taiwan first time, I felt so much safer. And
me
so
too.
much more normal.
Yeah, me too. I always really like talking to people who've been to China before as well, because I feel like
it's something actually it's part of experience. I love living in Taiwan, but being in China and seeing those things like first-handed.
Yeah.
It's such a priceless experience. It's like you want to learn to swim, like, and you want to learn Chinese in Taiwan. Like people are gonna be friendly, gonna laugh, and people are it's like everything's like pretty much normal like in a Western country. But if you like go straight like countryside in China, you're gonna be there.
It really tests your character.
Yeah, it's really gonna you're gonna like all this cultural shock.